Hi folks, how are we doing and welcome to my channel, Claire Thackeray. It is lovely to have you here, whether you are a returning subscriber, watcher, or whether you are new here. Before I go any further, I've just got to say that I have pre-filmed some content that because of this video going out, I'm filming this today and I'm going to put it out today. So the content that I filmed last week, the Barbara Hutton channeling and the Reading Delors canon book, Jesus and the Essenes, which was filmed a couple of weeks ago, are now going to be bounced back in a few days. Pre-filming is a great idea, but then when something comes in like this, it tends not to be a great idea because it gets bounced back, because there's no point having this coming out in a week or two when, I mean, it's already past anyway, because this event happened on the early hours of Friday morning. So apologies if you're like, well, you said you were going to do a Barbara Hutton. It's done, it's filmed, it just needs to go live. It's probably going to possibly go live towards the end of this week. So today's video, we're going to be looking at something that happened in the United Kingdom in Northumberland on, I think from what I gather, it was the early hours of Friday morning. So for my international clients, who I know many of which are not aware of it or don't know what this tree is, a tree which is a sacred space and probably one of the, I think it is the most photographed tree in the UK or in England. I think it's in the United Kingdom actually. It's between two mountains, it's on Hadrian's Wall, it's called Sycamore Gap, and in the early hours of Friday morning it was cut down in an act of vandalism. And it's a space where, I mean, you can see the picture of it on the thumbnail, but I'll show you a picture in a minute. I'll get Wiki up for you and I'll just do a quick introduction for those of you that don't know what it is, because that is only polite, because I know that I've got a lot of international clients on here and watchers. So Sycamore Gap. I thought there was something else had come in about it then, but obviously not. Wikipedia. So Sycamore was a sycamore tree standing next to Hadrian's Wall near Crag Luff in Northumberland, England. It was located in a dramatic dip in the landscape and was a popular photographic subject, described as one of the most photographed trees in the country. It derived its alternative name from featuring in the prominent scene in 1991 in the film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The tree won the 2016 England of the Year award. The tree was felled in the early morning of the 28th of September 2023 in an act of vandalism. And that's it. There's various different things going on. I think there's been a couple of people arrested, but this video is not going into or even looking at who's done it, why have they done it, because it's a legal situation. So it would be unfair for a tarot reader to spring up on YouTube and start to pull public cards on it. What this video is trying to look at some of the teaching and the healing that will and is already coming from this event, and possibly some of the karmic reasons, and yes there is some, of why this has happened in England. So it's a place, so let me take it away from Wiki. It's a place where many people have gone in times of conflict, where they've got a mental conflict, physical conflict, to sit, to ponder, to walk, to visit. It's a place where people have taken peace and experienced peace. It's a place where ashes have been laid. It's a place where people have been engaged. I think there's even been a wedding done there. People have picnicked there, people have walked there, run there, photographed there, cried there, laughed there, experienced being there. Many people may have walked through it and not really given it a moment's notice. And when the news came out on Friday, it was a weird day, I think, Friday energetically. It was just on the cusp of the full moon, and it was a weird energy in the United Kingdom. And when this came out, this story, literally, if you got it, you got it. I'm not judging people that probably didn't even realise it or saw it and it just went over their head. I'm not judging that, and this isn't about them. But for those of you that actually went into crippling reactions, went into anger, deep sadness, derailment, trauma, anger, vengefulness, despondency, depression, anxiety. Honestly, I'm not over egging the pudding here. People did. including myself, then the reason for that is because it was a portal moment. That tree was meant to fall at that moment. I understand if you come to my channel and you've never done any of this stuff before, you're going to be like, what is she talking about, meant to fall? No, it wasn't. It was an act of vandalism. It was an act of vandalism, but that tree had a certain amount of time on this planet. The reason why that tree was that tree and had that frequency was because when it fell, and it was meant to fall, even though it was an act of vandalism, it was going to cause a ripple effect that will go on forevermore. Okay? The ripple effect from this tree falling will go on forevermore and will be still spoken about a lot longer than what it was there for. It was there for 300 years. It's a portal. Now, portals they're opening all the time. A birthday is a portal, a death is a portal, a wedding day is a portal, a moon is a portal, it went down in a portal, or just about to start the moon portal. Certain dates can be portal, like 8/8, 8th of August, 11/11, 11th of November. We can have energetic portals. Portals open up, we physically can't see them, but they're like doorways that open up. Something like the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, the death of Queen Elizabeth II, the death of JFK, the death of John Lennon are all portal moments that open up and give humanity a chance to experience and have a deep dive into extreme pain, extreme grief, extreme sadness, extreme anger, but also at the same time making them revisit the past to then step into love, ascension, healing, recovery, to then go forward and bring something forward from either the really good event, but usually for what I'm talking about now, it's a sad event, it's a tragic event. And if you experience that intense rage, which when I found out, I came up with some right language of what I would do to the person that did it, or people, and then it was just something clicked and it was like, no, that's not what we do, Claire. We don't go into the hang 'em, drum and quarter 'em energy, because actually that's so last year. And I'm gonna come on to some of the reactions on social media, which were off the scale amazing. Honestly, what a heart-opening moment. And so it was an experience to go into that energy and to feel it, because there's nothing wrong with anger. When somebody goes, because remember, trees have souls, they're sentient beings, they have feelings, they have consciousness. So when somebody goes and lops a tree down, it's like lopping your legs off you. It feels it, but it was meant to die. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. And I've actually since seen it in soul form, and it's fine. It's in the tree kingdom. It's fine. And actually we need to allow it that experience of death, because death is actually a human right. We're not meant to stay on the earth forevermore, indulge in people's needs. We're actually meant to pass over, to rest, to transform, to then come back into another incarnation. So if you were able to move through all of that, but then find yourself coming back into your heart space, well done, you got it, and that's amazing. I've written some notes, but I don't want to try and stick to them, not many notes. When I heard about it, and then when I saw it, because the rumour was that it was a 16-year-old boy. Now, we know now that it probably wasn't. The cut was so clean, there was paint around it. We know that it was a professional. It was a professional that did that. I mean, literally, when they cut it, it's like that. It's the neatest cut you can imagine, and it's cut very much like that. So this is the card of Holy Anger, Be the Change. And basically, I think this, from what I remember, is actually based on a true picture where a tree was felled to make way for roads or buildings, and somebody came and sat in the middle of it and just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And that holy anger that many people will have felt when they heard it, especially as well, and let's not take it away from the people of Northumberland, because what tends to happen during these times is outsiders, including myself, can jump in with all the pain, but actually it's not your heritage. Even though I am in the UK, it's not I live in Lincoln, born in Yorkshire. And it would be unfair to take it away from the Northumberland people because it was their baby, it was their corner, it was their sacred space. And if we take it back to what trees represent our life force. Without trees, we don't breathe. Simple, we're dead, we're finished. It's the end of. There's no going back. And many people as well, even without realising it, can have friendships with trees. I know my first ever friend was a tree, it was a willow tree, and I was in primary school and I could talk to that tree and that tree would talk back. Not with physical words, but with messages in my head and feelings within my soul, within my body. So many people can actually find more comfort in woods, nature, fresh air, with a tree, with flowers, than they can with people. And at the minute, and I'm going to bring this in, many people are filming, they're not filming it, well they are filming it, but I might come to that in a bit. Many people are feeling at the minute, and I can only speak for the UK now, but it's the same around the world, pissed off with humanity, pissed off with humans, pissed off with people, pissed off with the toxicity of other people. Many people are going through something at the minute, they don't even realise what they're going through. The change, the shift, the change in consciousness, and it's bringing so much up for people. But what's happening is other people's stuff is spilling out into other people's stuff. And a lot of the places that people can find comfort in without even realising what's happening is within trees and within what I'm hearing, the messengers of the earth, the true kings of the planet, the true kingdoms on the planet are the forests, the trees, the flowers, the shrubs, the bushes, the rivers, the lakes, the lochs, the fresh air are the true kings and queens of the country, whatever country you're in, the pyramids, etc. Oceans, rocks, cliffs, everything. And they hold all the knowledge and they hold all the wisdom. And they affect people on different levels. So that's where we're at now. So what a tree has to teach us during times of trauma, how it reacts. I'm going to go back a bit to a story that involves me last year. Actually, it's about the same time. We moved into our home and we had some renovation work done around the garden. The side, the front, everything got dug up, apart from the back garden, which is luscious. Anyway, we had the patio dug up and we had a peach tree. Was it a peach tree? It was a pear tree. And it was a beautiful pear tree in the middle of its bloom. It's coming up to September. The pears are there. It's as green as it's going to be. The builders, I don't want to go there, whether they knew what they were doing, whether they just didn't give a shit. I reckon they just didn't give a shit because that's the energy that they had. Cut through the root system of the tree and killed it. Within hours it was dead. And I remember looking at it and feeling, oh my, they didn't even come and tell us what they'd done. And it was so obvious. And I remember thinking, oh my God, what the hell? It died within hours. And what it did was this weird thing, it went in on itself. And then we Googled it and we got told on the Google, strip it back, take all the fruit off it so it's not under pressure, let it rest. And next year, next spring, it may start to bud again, but it could take some time. So we did that. And this spring, I was in the garden towards the end of spring and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, you're not going to come back, are you? And I'd raked it and everything. Spoken to it, channeled it, everything. And then I started to see little buds coming up, very small, little like red-tipped buds. And I'm sure they're buds. Let's wait. A few weeks afterwards, towards the end of spring, some white blossom appeared on it. I looked and I actually filmed it, and if you've been following me a while, you know that I filmed that and I did a video about it on here. And obviously I'm a healer, and when I looked at it, I thought, the trees have so much to teach us. That tree went into trauma. It experienced a traumatic event. Its root system was cut. Rather than trying to keep going, rather than fighting it, it went in on itself. It hermited. It went into its cocoon. It switched off. It went in, not to switch off and bypass humanity and not to ever come out again, but to actually heal, to recover, to go into its root system. And I know when we pushed on the tree, it would move as well at this time. So it literally, it was game over. And I thought if only humans could understand that when they experience trauma, rather than pushing through it and no pain, no gain, we actually did what the tree did, and we went within and we cut back and we stepped back and we concentrated on our root system, because we all have a root system. We concentrated on our grounding, and then we come back. And I thought, imagine if we knew that, and that was taught in schools and taught in homes by families, that when you are in trauma, you do what the tree does. Look at what the tree does when it's in trauma. We would have so much less mental health issues in this world. We would have so much less trauma. We wouldn't have no trauma, because we're here to learn. And it could change the game. It could change the healing possibilities for everyone on this earth. So when this tree went, I was off. I'm like, right, I know trees. I work with trees all the time. So I know trees are messengers and they're teachers and they're healers. So let's have a pop at this then, Claire. So the tree is destroyed and it is chopped down and it falls. And everyone has this heart-opening moment. I went onto social media. I thought, is social media going to be a shit show today? And I thought, don't do it, Claire, because it's going to be a shit show. But I just went onto social media, and the comments, not just on my own socials, but on so many other social news channels, I have never experienced such love, anger, but the holy anger, but such healing, such vulnerability, such heart opening. And then as time started to go over the few days, when people came in with the let's hang 'em drum and quarter 'em energy, people actually stepped forward with love and compassion and said, I hear you, I feel you, I see you, but that is not the answer here. And one comment went, the answer is actually love and compassion. That's how you grow from this. And I was like, I mean, these weren't even spiritual pages. These were like BBC. And I was like, whoa. I have never, honestly, I am not one that stays on social media reading comments, but literally this weekend, it's been phenomenal. Honestly, for those of you that have been able to go into those spaces and be that person, whether you've put that comment or whether you've thought that, well done you. Well done. Honestly, you are a shining light on this planet, and this planet needs you at this time. And even then, when it started coming obvious who it may have been, you got them coming in, blithering. But then even then, people stepped and said, no, stop. And then as it moved on, people then started to come on, and they were saying things like, this is really sad, it's got us all, but now our focus needs to be on other trees. Let's not be hypocritical. This isn't my words, this is what I saw on social media. Let's not be hypocritical, because every day we're losing trees around the world through elites, vandalism to make way for new things, to teenage vandalism, to people climbing on trees, people neglecting trees, people burning trees. I don't need to name it all. And yet nobody bats an eyelid, and the small groups of people that do are persecuted and picked on and trolled and arrested and laughed at and abused and pushed aside, etc. And people were saying, God, yeah. And people even saying, like, I've never thought of trees before, but actually this has really got me. It's got me thinking of trees. And I was like, this is, well, brilliant. Even though it was a really sad story, it was well brilliant. And I thought, you know what? Sycamore Gap, I salute you in that soul contract. What is a soul contract, Claire? A soul contract, we all have soul contracts. We've got millions of them. Everything's a soul contract. It's your message to the planet. It's what you're coming here to show humanity. And sometimes, because of where we are right now in our consciousness, bad things have to happen. And I'm afraid that is how it goes at the minute. Tragedy has to happen to wake people up to themselves, wake people up to the world, wake people up to the shit that we're in at the minute and the situation that we're in. And I was like, well done, Sycamore Gap, because the soul contract of that tree to cause that is going to go on forever is astounding. And one of the other things I got was that actually it was time for it to go, because that tree had been there for 300 years, giving hope, solace, love, compassion, space, an ear, absorbing the energy of the dead with the ashes, absorbing the wars that it's gone through, absorbing the collective sadness, because trees do. Trees absorb collective. If you go through a forest when there's a big thing, like if you'd have gone through the forest during COVID and people said this, the trees can look weird and they can look very limpy and sad. If you work with the energy of trees, you can see it. And I'm not being ego there, you just can. Because they absorb so much of our pain. So that's why they can't be here forever. And it's why sometimes they need to pass over in order, like we need to pass over. They have soul, and I'm going to explain that further in a minute. They have soul, and they need to go over to rest, to recuperate, to then come back as another tree. And which comes to this card, the card of resurrection, the forest. What does it say? Embrace new life. So that tree needed to pass at that time. And I don't want to get into the argument of yes, but I've been chopped down, it's brutal. Something had to kill it. And what I got the other day was, if it hadn't have been that accident, it wasn't an accident, was it an accident? Ooh, why did I say that? If it hadn't have been that vandalism, there was going to be a freak weather condition that would have affected it. And actually, what I'm also seeing is that freak weather condition, there could have been somebody there that probably wasn't au fait with knocking trees down, so knew how to knock a tree down without getting flattened. So there could have been some damage. And also as well, if it had gone in a weather thing, it wouldn't have caused the reaction that it's causing now with the vandalism. That vandalism energy had to come into the heart space to crack it open, okay? So yes, hereby hangs a tale. The person who did it at a higher point, there will also be a soul contract there. So that person is also showing us. And again, if you've come to this channel for the first time watching this video, I know it'll be like, what? Soul contracts. Souls putting their hands up to come down and play the goodies, the baddies, the devil, whatever, in order to cause that in the heart. So it had to come in like that, to crack it open. So then I want to move on to the energy. There's so much energy with this, I want to really take my time with it. When something dies, do we replace it? Now I know the person that did this was acting from a place of love and was trying to do something kind, so I'm not judging. But I'm drawing it to your attention because again there's some teaching here from this tree. So basically what's happened is then somebody went up and they've replanted a sycamore tree. A new sycamore tree right next to where this one's fallen. And initially it was like, oh bless, that's lovely. And then I thought about it and I thought, ick. The sad truth is that whatever you plant there will never be that tree. That Sycamore Gap tree will never be able to be replaced. You can plant 200 trees there and none of them trees will hold that frequency. And actually, one of the things I think that is teaching us that need that we need to get away from when something dies, having to replace it, and people do this. A dog dies, so they run out and get the child a new dog because they can't stand to think the child's going to be without a dog, or they can't stand to be without the dog. The cat dies, they run straight out to buy it. Something dies. I mean, they're not even giving it a chance for I don't know if they're going to move the tree, but not even giving it a chance for the energies to settle, for the trauma of the chopping to settle, because that energy will also be there. Although I think, myself included, and many other healers are now starting to clear that energy. I think as well with, you see, I'm being drawn to, oh God, what's his name? Richard E. Grant's just popped in then. And the death of his wife and how the work that he's doing about grief, and what a man. Honestly, I don't think many people can actually think about Richard E. Grant without getting a lump in their throat and his raw grief. And if you said to Richard E. Grant, I tell you what, I've got a new wife for you, Do you want it? I'm doing it, Richard, because I love the work you've done and you've been a light into my life, so I want to give you another wife. Do you think I'd have another wife? Because actually you need to grieve, and we need to grieve the loss of the tree, the cat, the dog, the person, be it that they've passed in death or be it that they've left you and you've been dumped. You can't roll from one bed into another bed. There has to be a grieving process. We have to allow people to grieve. Also as well, we have to allow communities to come together and decide what happens. Mainly, my friends, the community of Northumberland needs to come together and decide what needs to be done there. Whether it's a monument, whether it's left. I have heard that actually if you leave the stump, sometimes the stump can grow. Although some tree people have said you'll never get back what you lost. It may not grow in the etc. But I'm not a tree person. So I thought that was a teaching moment. And again, I'm not judging the man that's done it. I think he's done it to be kind. But we can't act like that. We can't act like that. You can't have something that you lose on Friday and Saturday, Sunday, you're planting something else. We can't do that. And I think we as a species and to the tree have to be better. So, karmic. Yesterday I got another download that came in that said this is also karmic for the UK. That we as a species in history have done something to another country and destroyed a sacred space at another country, and this is a karmic payback. I'll stop right here. If you're new to my channel, I apologise for having to say that as well. I just don't want to be rude and waffle on and not explain things. Karma is not a punishment, by the way. Karma is our national curriculum as a soul. So your karma is what you come to learn. It's what you come to clear. And sometimes that can be through misdeeds, bad deeds, good deeds, etc. So when people say karma's a bitch, they're actually using karma out of its meaning. That says more about those people saying that than it does about what karma is. Karma is your lessons, your teaching. And sadly, it does get gathered up through lifetimes of what we've done and said and experienced as human beings. And what I was shown was that the United Kingdom, or England, there could also be some karma of the Romans there as well. So obviously whoever this person is that's done it, there's an idea of who's done it. It's not been proven at the time of this filming, which is, what today is it? It's 2nd of October. There will be some karmic thing with him there as well. But obviously we're not fully aware of that, so we can't go into that. But for the country, one of the things that, and I was sat here before I started this video, I thought, I can't just say it's a karmic deed, can I, Claire? And what I was shown was the Native American attacks. And I briefly looked at the history on my phone. I was like, whoa, okay, there's a lot to get through, and there's a lot of years of that. But what the British did when they went over to to America, as it would have been then, and all the stuff that came from that, all the abuse of the Native Americans, and the sacred spaces and trees and places that they would have had. So it was also a rebalancing moment. And it may, and like all things that come and get cleared with karma, it can be painful. It doesn't make it any easier. But actually, if you want to learn from something and grow from something, sometimes you have to really think deep. And sometimes you have to look in the mirror at your own shadow, the shadow of your country. So this tree has actually brought so much to the table, so much teaching, healing, and will continue to do so. Because from this also, people are going to start thinking about trees. And they're going to start, because of the way we are now, we need to start thinking about trees. You know, the environment is in dire straits, the weather systems, all of it. And no, it's not made up to distract people. It's true. You only have to look at the outside your front door to realise there's a serious problem going on that I don't think will be allowed to implode, but it needs humans who are guardians of the earth to actually start to understand what we're doing. And that one lone tree is going to be the game changer for it. So the consciousness of a tree. So when we first come to the planet, the belief system is, there's many different belief systems on this, but this is the one that I'm aware of, okay? You come to Earth as consciousness, which is soul, spirit, energy, whatever you're comfortable with calling it. First time you come to Earth, you come as stone. Okay, so you get used to being on the planet as stone, and you can come down back as many times. You can be part of a mountain, part of pebbles on a beach. You come as stone, so you start to get used to being a stone. Then you come in as plants, grass, flowers, so your consciousness increases, okay? And you start to experience more, feel more, because if you came without that, Earth would be way too much, and it is way too much for many people. So you spend some time doing that. You may have an incarnation of a few flowers, be a few blades of grass. And over time, have you noticed that the analogy that my guide showed me was this? Because I said, well, that grass could be there for millions of years, hundreds of years. That's one consciousness. And he said, actually, no. Because you know when your grass dies, well, new consciousness can come into it. It's very different to the human body. So you spend some time doing that. Then you start incarnating as the trees. And you can be here for as long as you need as a tree. And trees, obviously, powerful beings. Once you've worked through your trees, your tree kingdom, your flower kingdom, all of that, then you start to incarnate as an animal. And you work through your incarnations in an animal. Then you incarnate as a pet, so you then go into the household there and you learn all about the household feelings and the place of the household, the pecking order, and then you can come into human form. We know that a lot of that is also happening at the same time. So that tree will have only had a shelf life. It will only have had a mission to do that, and it absorbed a lot. So that's how consciousness works, and that's how spirit works. So everything you come across has consciousness. And I remember when I did my shamanic training, and I went through a really weird stage that I'm actually glad doesn't happen now, where I'd look at things and I'd see a mist around it. And it started off when it was crystals, sage, candles, tarot cards. If it was like a tarot deck on the side, I'd see a steam. It was awful, actually, because when it first started, it looked like it was on fire, and I'd be like, oh God, literally like there was smoke around it, and it was like, what is that? And I could see nowhere, like a heat haze around it. Thankfully that stopped, because actually it started to do my head in a bit, because then it was the telly, and it was other objects. I'd see this haze around it. So I was starting to see energy around things. So everything has a consciousness as well. Different types of consciousness for different things. So could I have some, and I'm using the Christ Consciousness deck by Amanda Ellis. I've also got Practical Magic by, let's have a look, Serene, Conneeley, and I've also got the Native Spirit. So I might take a card from each deck. So show me the soul contract of the Sycamore gap in this lifetime. Show me the soul contract. Wow. I'll share it with you in a minute. Show me the soul contract of Sycamore gap in this lifetime. Show me the soul contract of Sycamore gap in this lifetime. Oops. Whoa! Honestly, I will share them with you, don't worry. Oh my God. Wait till you read this. I'm just pulling them, then I'll show you them. Surely can't. The only cards I have pulled on this are about who's done it, and I've done that in private. And that was neither tarot deck out. Show me the soul contract of Sycamore gap in this lifetime. Wow. Where'd you start with this then, Claire? I will start at the beginning. Faith over fear. You can count. So it goes down in a moment when the country is in fear, it's in despondency, we're humaned out, we've had enough of the system, we've had enough of life. And it comes in as faith over fear. So not only is its death trying to tell us that, but its existence was trying to tell us that. It was like a lighthouse to a lot of people. It was the lighthouse to a lot of people, and I'm going icy cold. It was the boat in it was the boat in treacherous seas. It was the calm boat in treacherous seas. It was the island in treacherous seas. The card at the bottom of the deck is living from the heart, soften and open. What was I saying to you about the heart space? The shock of it came in and cracked the heart. It's a heartbreak. Your heart starts to crack. What's actually meant to happen then is actually meant to be a heart opening moment. But because we're humans and we're conditioned in the ways that we are, We go into anger, rage, vengefulness, self-sabotage, self-harming, all of that kind of stuff, when actually we need to step into this. Oh, this is powerful. So the next card that came out was from the Practical Magic deck. Are you ready for it? Express your heart. Heart, 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 heart. Can you get the drift now? Heart, 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 heart. The storyteller. Also as well, that when just because a tree's gone or a human's gone, let's bring this into human grief, because what will have also happened is, if your relative's ashes are there, or your last memory of your mum's there, or the person that you love asked you to marry them there and you've lost them, this is going to ask you to revisit that grief. So that tree is also asking you to revisit. So whatever's come up during this time, be it that the loss of someone, be it that you used to go there when you were abused, be it that you went there when you lost your job, be it that you went there when you'd been burgled or whatever, whenever you'd been there, and that comes up, that pain, is the tree is actually asking you to revisit that, because it's another purge. So the more that you can express your heart, it's also helping to clear the karmic records, the Akshaic records. Can you see the book on her knee? The story keeper. Just because it's physically gone doesn't mean to say it's not energetically still there, and it will come back in another form. Maybe it'll come back in Northumberland, and maybe it already has, because remember, time isn't linear. The card at the bottom of that deck is embrace your shadow, light and dark. So this is about having to deal with like I said, the vast majority of comments were wonderful. But there was always that little pinprick comment that comes in, and I could have done that when I first found out. But it's about looking at our light and our dark and our shadow, our collective shadow, looking at our own karma, looking at how we can vandalise things as well, not just trees but people. Because that very same day, I think a teenage girl was killed in a city in the United Kingdom by another teenager, and not many eyelids got bat. So, I mean, like bat the eyelid. Where's the value of life? A teenage girl next to a tree. Our focus went to the tree. I know it upset, I know it hurt people, but that was someone's daughter stabbed. And again, we have to look at our reactions to everything, and me included, and our collective shadow, and why we have people within our society that think that's a normal thing, that just because something pisses you off or does something bad to you, or that you perceive is bad, we then go out and vandalise something. So it's about looking at, it's easy to go, I bet it was this the person that you think's done it, he or she or they or them. But actually it's also about looking at our collective shadow, because we're all part of it. We are all one. And also as well, remember that whoever's done this to the tree, there is a fragment of us within them. Your physical body is full of every fragment of crystal, every fragment of history, every fragment of each other, every fragment of the planets is within us. So when we go, you are that, you're actually saying it to yourself as well. So that's a moment as well. Spirit of air. I mean, wow. Breath, oxygen. And that tree, for although it was a lone tree, its death is going to bring its attention back to the forests. Wow, God, yeah. Trees, yeah, they provide oxygen, oh my God. And that's, oh God, and actually people are going to be turning to more. So it's actually saying, okay, I have died, but don't forget my brothers and sisters that are dying every single day and that nobody seems to bat an eyelid about. So the tree is also drawing your attention to its brothers and sisters that are getting lopped down every day. Climbed, don't climb, don't stop being an idiot. When I see people climbing trees, I get triggered. I hate it. I'm talking about children here. I really have to go, they're only a child. I have to ground, because when I see people climbing on trees, it literally, but that's me, I'm a human being. The white buffalo and the determination to keep going, the determination to take what's been given to us now, and especially those of you that live in the Northumberland area that can physically get there, or that have a role, or that have some kind of power in this story, be it you're the police that we're working on it, your National Trust, the World Heritage people, that actually it's a time of coming together and actually saying, okay, something bad has been done, but how can we be the alchemist, the light alchemist, and turn that bad event into something that can bring great joy and great healing? And also as well, taking your children there once the energy settled, because that's triggering me as well. Just let the energies, let it grieve. Imagine you've just died, okay, and you're laid out. Someone just locked you down, you're laid out, and there's people there photographing you. There's people there wanting a lot, what we call the, I was going to say rubberneckers then, but I will be honest. If you're new to my channel, I'm quite honest. Once the energies have settled there and things have had a chance to calm down, to actually take your children there and to actually, rather than just stomp through it and not talk to them and not educate them, to actually use it as a teaching moment, not to put them into fear of vandalism, but to actually teach them about trees and about Mother Earth and about Mother Nature and about the birds, the bees. I don't mean the birds and the bees. I don't mean that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, our planet, our the Great Mother, the wisdom of the elders, the ancestors, the trees, the Northumberland heritage, the fact that actually, rather than the focus being on this thing, like that actually their focus needs to get back out into the great outdoors. And also as well, that actually nothing is forever. You know, I mean, thinking about Northumberland. I like Northumberland. I love Northumberland, actually. And I think if I was going to move anywhere, and I did end up moving to Northumberland, it was either going to be Lincoln or Northumberland, and it worked out that Lincoln came in. But, you know, I love Bamber Castle. But who's to say it's going to be there forever? One day it may crack and fall into the sea. I don't know. It may burn down. Anything could happen. There could be a beach that you love that one day could be wrecked. So as well, it brings us back to presence and the present moment of actually being in the present moment, that beach may not always be there. That park may not always be there. That person may not always be there. That destination may not always be there. And to be more mindful of that, but also as well being more mindful of the places that we visit when we are sad. That I always get frustrated when people say, just stamp into Mother Ground, stamp that pain into. People do, you hear healers saying it all the time, ground it all into Mother Ground, Mother Earth, give it all back to the Mother. And I'm like, ooh, because why? Why are you giving your trauma to Mother Earth? Why are you stamping on Mother Earth and going for a stomp to get it out of my system? To actually be aware of what we're stomping out about, and what we're giving, and what we're actually, you know, what is that tree absorbing, and what am I giving back to that tree? Am I going back to that? Say you've a problem at work, you're really traumatized, you go to the tree and you get comfort from it. Do you ever go back to that tree and say, thank you? Or do you ever go back to that tree and say, would you, me included, ever go back and actually say, I'm better now? Thank you for listening. I free you from my burden. We don't do it. We never do. And I think as well, we have to be better as a species, and there's so much to talk about with this. Let's pull some more cards. Final messages on this subject. Final messages on this subject. Final messages on this subject. What is the death of Sycamore Gap trying to show us at this time? Holy Spirit, work through me. The garden, receive and heal. Holy Spirit, work through me. Garden, receive and heal. Sisterhood, the feminine way. So this is also about embracing your divine feminine energy, which is the gentle energy. It's the nurturing energy. That's not the hang 'em, draw 'em and quarter 'em, public flogging. whatever, Trevor, energy that was out there, which it could have been a lot worse, actually. It wasn't. But this is about actually going higher. And actually it says a lot about a person when they're able to move through their anger into love and into compassion and into oneness. Our reaction to everything in life says so much about us and where we're at on our journey. And asking the Holy Spirit to work through you at this time, but also knowing, and when I actually saw the tree in spirit form, it was in a place like this, that actually just because it's physically gone, it's not energetically gone. And that from today's ashes, something else will rise up. And it may not even be in that place. It may be a seed in, that's interesting. I'm seeing it not getting replanted there, but the replanting has to happen within the people that are affected by it. The tree, the replanting of the tree, the replanting of the new tree, the replanting of the seeds of the new tree have to happen within humanity, not the ground. Of course, eventually I think they're going to plant more trees somewhere, but to actually change the world, the new planting has to be within humans. Rest and restore, rockabye, the fairy kingdom, the elemental kingdom. Embrace your shadow, light and dark. So a time of reflectiveness, and that's what I was meaning about not planting something straight away, giving the ground time to heal. Because you imagine the energy of somebody sinister coming up to you and chopping it down, there will be some heavy energy around there now. That may be also if you are an energy sensitive person, maybe you don't visit for some time, because if you can pick up stuff like that, it can be quite overwhelming. Full moon, darkness, all of that energy is quite dark and heavy. So giving yourself a chance to recover before you go back there, because the last thing you want to do is add more trauma to it. It's giving humanity the chance to think and go within again. Embrace your shadow, light and dark. The similar cards that's coming up for its life as its death. So show me the lessons of its death for us. Walking in beauty, the trickster. It's really easy to be all love and light when the world's brilliant. It's really easy to be all love and light, namaste, when everything's going our way. I'm a spiritual person, I'm this, I'm that. It's really easy when we're in a Zen den or we're somewhere like that, or life's good. It's really easy to be that when life's good. But when we're dealing with trickster energy or badness, that's when actually being spiritual can be a non-starter, because we instantly step into our humanness, our anger, our vengefulness, our fear, our vendetta energy, eye for an eye. And actually, again, what I'm hearing is there's going to be many more of this. No, people are not going to be walking around chopping trees down all the time, but there will be collective events within each country that will be testing our level of consciousness in order to, number one, test it, and also to take us to the next level, to keep us accountable. Because you think about your guides, your angels, your ancestors, they are shown all kinds of things every day and they still keep their calm. And that's where we're trying to work towards at the time. And I'm not talking about being mute where something happens and it just goes over your head because I don't feel anything. I'm so numb that I actually don't feel anything. That's not what I'm talking about. That's an issue. What I'm talking about is you feel it, but you're able to release it. You're able to work through it and let it go, and then come back as a community, your own internal community and your external community. And you're also able to know that that tree has gone, but it's gone into energetic form, that the frequency, the messages will always be there if you want to go into your heart and reach it. It's taught us that time is precious. Today it's here, tomorrow it's gone. It's taught us that humans need to watch and tune into more things with the trees. That was a comment, I don't know if I've said it in this video, that somebody said, look, we need to stop being hypocrites, because Every day we're losing trees, and yet one tree has caused so much devastation. Every day someone's sacred tree is going. It may not be yours, it may not be Instagrammable, but it may be somebody's tree in some woods that's gone, their safe space. So coming back to Mother Nature, coming back to Mother Earth, coming back to humanity, and actually thinking, how can I grow from this? How can I learn from this? How can I change from this? How can I adapt from this? How can I step into my heart, step out of fear, anger, resentment, and into my heart space and go forward? Also as well, it'll be teaching us the gift of forgiveness and understanding of, rather than thinking, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of people, I had an hard life, but I don't go chopping trees down. Feel into that energy for a minute to think, what must happen for someone to think that is a good reaction? What's been lacking to think that's a good reaction when something goes wrong in your life, you lop down a tree? Honestly, the gift of this tree will keep on giving. The gift of life will keep on giving. The gift of trauma will keep on giving. Everything is a gift. Everything is a learning moment. Everything is a growing moment. And everything is giving you a moment and me a chance to be a better version of ourselves. To go through the portal in one aspect, angry, resentful, frightened, overwhelmed, sick of this, but then to come out of it a better version of ourselves. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more of my content, you can subscribe to the channel, which is free. It's just like liking someone on Facebook. Subscribe and you get to see more content. Press subscribe and the bell next to it so you're notified of all videos. Drop me a comment, send this video to, and then I said send this video to a family member that may be struggling, or on a group, I don't know, a tree group that may be struggling, or on your socials. Let's take it from lower vibrational into higher vibrational. Your power's not gone. This is actually a moment of empowerment. It's a moment of rising. It's a moment of finding your voice. No, using your voice, and actually using your voice for the benefit of humanity. Be the change you want to see in the world, and I will see you lot in the next video. Bye.